Hello, it's Ashley with At Home with Ashley. This week we're doing a pantry redo, and honestly we've been working on this for weeks, so let me bring you up to speed. So we bought this house 6 years ago and we've slowly redone every section, and not the pantry yet. We did like a fast make it cute, but we mostly worked with the shelving we had. I put up some wallpaper, but the problem is the shelving is not good and it's just kind of a mess. And so instead of decluttering like I could have done, we're just taking it down to the studs so that we can come up with a better solution. So taking it down to the studs in this old house means taking off 3 to 4 to 5 layers of drywall and wood and different things that people didn't take things off that lived here before us. They just added another layer. So we have to take all of that down. And then between the studs, there actually used to be adobe brick, and we have this all on the exterior of our house, and it's an excellent insulator. But now instead of this wall being an exterior wall, there's a bathroom on the other side, so we don't need it for insulation from the outside elements. So we're just going to take it down, and the thing I'm excited about with taking it down is that this is going to allow us to have more space between the studs to do shelves there, and that's going to quadruple our storage space, because we kind of just had a few shelves kind of up high, which was not fun with a child. He can't reach most things. So now we're going to have floor to ceiling shelves, and that's really exciting. We are finally to the make it pretty stage, and for this stage we are putting in real beadboard tongue and groove planks between the studs. And then because the studs are 2x6s, we're also using 2x6s to make the shelves. And the good thing about this is this also adds some stability to the bones of our house, in addition to being shelves. I was originally planning on just painting this one color, and then everybody on Instagram was like, why don't you do rainbow? So I was peer pressured into it, and now I decided, oh, it would be fun to do rainbow. So I painted it pink at the top and then did rainbow colors all the way down, which is fun. It kind of matches the rainbow stairs we have in our house. And then on the other side, I just have it plain beadboard because we need to add some more fun things to it. So on this wall, we used to have a bunch of shelves, and we're going to put more shelves up, but we had a bit between our studs that we could carve out. Most of this is a water heater, and pipes, so this is the only place we could carve out, but it's going to be hidden storage. And I figure I like to decant my food so I can put extra stuff in there. I don't know, it'll be nice. And then I'm going to skirt it right here. So we just got to get working on adding this part so we can get this wall done. The last portion of the pantry that I showed very quickly, because I was busy doing other things, I didn't get a lot of good footage. That took weeks. My husband pulling out rocks from the wall and just doing layers and layers and layers of demo, and then putting it back together. Weeks. So now we're on the point where it should be going fast and instant gratification, which is so fun after your house being full of dust and your food everywhere. This feels good. So today what we are doing is, I have such a fun vision for this wall, is we're putting a countertop in. We're going to skirt the countertop eventually. And then I'm also going to put in a peg rail so we can put some pretty things up. And it'll be a mix of function and pretty, but we tripled the storage space we have on that other rainbow wall. So over here we can have some fun. Okay, so what we're beginning with is the DIY countertop, and so we're going to attach these brackets to the wall, and we are using screws to attach them because you can use they have a mounting on the back, but it's not super strong, so screws will be better for this. And I am going 36 inches above the ground, and then we need to measure and cut the countertop board, and for this I'm using a 2x6 piece of lumber. Again, I don't want to block the access to my basement stairs too much, so we're using a smaller shelf. And then we're just using screws to attach the countertop to the brackets. Later we will skirt this area. Next, I want to put up a peg rail, and so we are doing this about 32 inches above the countertop. First, what we're going to do is attach the brackets to the wall, and then we're adding a shelf above them just because then you can put more cute stuff above the peg rail. And then we're going to use a peg rail board. For this, we're just using a 1x4. It was in my scrap pile, which is nice because I love using stuff we already have. And then we cut it to fit perfectly between the wood brackets and use screws to attach it. And then we figured out the peg placement. Most people do 6 to 8 inches between pegs, but I have kind of a small area, so I did 5 inches. And then we marked the locations with a pencil and then drilled the hole for the pegs. And we just used a 1/2 inch spade drill bit. So then you just use wood glue and put the dowel in. And make sure you wipe away any excess glue, let it dry completely. And then we use wood filler to cover up any screw or nail holes, sand that smooth, and apply caulk for like a nice clean look. We also put up a higher shelf, and this one's a little bit deeper so I can actually put cookbooks on it. So I'm very excited about that. We used bigger brackets and we used a 2x10 piece of lumber for that. And then my husband painted everything for me. We're using this color called Frosted Sage, and I think it's such a nice like soft blue. It looks really good in here, and I've used it throughout my house, so I totally recommend this color, and it kind of pulls everything together to have it all painted the same color. And honestly, I think it looks amazing. I keep staring at this while I'm sitting at the table eating. I'm like, this is cute. And so I'm excited to pull in the rest of the details and also like fill it up and see how cute it looks. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is make the pleated curtains that are going to hang below my shelf. And I am using this vintage cape fabric. I actually illustrated it and had it made into fabric. So I think this is kind of cool. I'm just going to start by ironing, and then I am measuring and cutting the fabric. So my pantry is about 32 inches wide, and a pleated curtain needs 2 times the width of the area it's covering. So I'm just cutting 2 panels that are 40 inches wide by 36 inches tall, and that's just going to allow for hemming to get the perfect width and height. Next, we're going to hem the edges, and so I'm using my iron to fold over a 1/2 inch hem on all sides of each panel, and then I'm folding it over again and ironing it down. This means you don't have to like serge it or anything, but you'll get a really nice clean edge. Then I'm adding pleat tape. So this is something I bought. It was like $2 a yard at my fabric store. And I'm just cutting it the same width of my curtain panel. It's 40 inches wide, and pinning it into place. Then we just need to sew the hem down. So at my sewing machine, I'm just going around each edge, and then at the top where the pleat tape is, I already went over the top, but I also need to go over the other side of the pleat tape just to hold it in place. Now we need to create the pleats, which is really easy. So all you have to do is you're gonna pull the strings on the pleat tape. So when I sewed them, I made sure one side of the strings were sewn down into place and the other side were loose. So then you just pull them, and I like to have a measuring tape out, so I pull them to half the width of my desired area. So I'm going about like 15-16 inches wide. Now we just need to tie a knot with those extra strings we pulled loose, and tying this knot is going to make it so it can't go any bigger than it is right now. So make sure it's the right measurement for how wide you want your curtains to be. Next, attach curtain hooks. So I'm using these like little drapery hooks that have like a pointy end, and I'm pushing that part into the pleat tape, and I'm trying to do it evenly. And I did 7 on each side, and that seemed to be a good number. Finally, you just need to put the curtain rings on the curtain rod and then put the drapery hooks onto the rings. So it's a really easy way to get like high-end looking curtains, but you can make them yourself. The pantry is done, and I've got to tell you, it was so much fun to fill it up. So for weeks we've been working on this, and finally I can get all of the things I've collected and got from the antique shop and on eBay and put them in. Then I didn't even have enough stuff, so I went into my cupboard where I keep all of my like beautiful serving stuff, and I was able to put some of that out, and it was so joyful. I just love my things so much, and I'm going to show you how the pantry turned out now. Okay, so one thing you might be wondering is what's up with the pantry floor. It is not done. I have a really fun project. I'm probably gonna make a mosaic that I create myself for the floor. So I didn't have time. I'm going on a trip to Italy soon, so I will resume the floor as soon as I can, which will be really cool. And I also want to make a light for the ceiling out of stained glass. It looks like a flower. I don't know, we'll see if I can figure that out. But for now, I am so thrilled with the pantry. I think the peg rail side looks amazing. I can see it from my chair where I sit, and I'm like, it's just lovely to not have like this huge cluttered mess and be able to just have an area that's like very beautiful, very functional. The shelves are so nice. We have so much more space because we took so much layers off and then went inside the studs. So it feels way more spacious in there and less like claustrophobic, which is really nice. So I do think the rainbow shelves will be fun to have because I can be like, oh, it's on the green shelf, oh, it's on the yellow shelf, and it'll be an easy way to kind of tell people where stuff is. And they're just kind of narrow, so all that fits in there is all you can see, and I kind of like that aspect of it. So my pantry is, the organization part is done. I still have some more work to do on it, but I want to hear what you guys think of it so far. If you like how we did the shelves, if you like the peg rail situation, tell me your favorite part. I would love to hear in the comments. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe so you can follow along on my DIY adventures.